Hi all, welcome to another refurbishment video. This is a revisit to the Antec ISK110 mini desktop PC. So what I did is I upgraded the CPU to an Intel i5-4590S quad core. So straight into the benchmarks. On Valley we're getting a score of 665 and on Heaven it's a score of 539. What that translates to is an increase in performance based on those results of 70% on Valley and 47% on Heaven. So it was well worth upgrading that CPU. So what I'll do now is run some games and I'll talk through the results. What I'm going to do is run the games where on the previous CPU the performance wasn't that great, so we can see what the upshift is on this CPU. Onto Crisis. Now, compared to the other video, I've put the graphical quality settings up to medium but kept the resolution onto the minimum, so really it's up to you which your preference is. So with not too much going on, we're getting mid to late 30s, early 40s. So keep those settings at low or adjust some of them to your taste if you want a better frame rate. So I'll just get a bit more firefighting going, a bit more characters on the screen. So yeah, mid to high 30s on these settings. So that's Crisis. On to Far Cry 3. Now, taking into account that Bandicam's taken up some resource, which in this case is about 5 frames per second, we're getting a good upshift in performance, but there's not too many characters going on the screen. So if you can live with late 20s nudging 30 frames per second, I'll just get into driving. So if you can live with that frame rate as it is at the moment, then this game is going to be playable for you now on this system. So that's Far Cry 3. On to FIFA. Now I've kept the same settings as I did in the first video, and we're getting a rock solid 30 frames per second. Now I've actually locked that in the game settings to 30 because I think it'll be better for this machine, but feel free to try unlocking that and seeing what you get. But there's no stuttering from what I can see compared to last time, so I think that's been resolved. During the cutscenes that frame rate's going to go down, but that's not too much of an issue really, but gameplay's pretty rock solid 30. Okay, so that's FIFA 2015. On to Fortnite. Now I've locked the frame rate at 30, which is at the moment, with not too many characters on the screen, it's pretty rock solid. So it's up to you if you want to either change that locked frame rate or maybe get some of the quality settings adjusted, because it's on the same settings as the previous video. Right, so that's Fortnite. Grand Theft Auto now. Now all the graphical settings are set on to minimal, including the resolution, and it's a rock solid 30 frames per second on this opening level, which is just fine on this system. There is a resolution scaling, so I changed that, but it didn't make any difference to the frame rate, so I've left it as it is, and I'm sure that rate's going to go down once things start happening, more action and more characters moving on the screen. But at the moment it's 30, which is more than playable. I've just got stuck here, unfortunately. There may have been updates since this version was released that might improve performance. So it's up to you if you want to try them out, and there could be as with a lot of games, various manual configuration file settings which you can try to get more performance, so maybe search for those as well. Okay, so that's Grand Theft Auto 5. Need for Speed Rivals. Now there's a small upshift in performance compared to the previous video, which is what we're aiming for. So with Bandicam on, don't forget some of the performance is going to be reduced, and I think without Bandicam you can get a pretty rock solid 30 frames per second. Everything's on minimal as usual, so it's up to you if you want to experiment, but I'd leave things as they are and get that 30 frames per second pretty solid at the moment in place. Right, so that's Need for Speed Rivals. So I thought I'd return to Need for Speed because there's a few more cars moving on the screen, and as expected that rate's gone down just slightly. So without Bandicam recording, you can probably safely say that 30 frames per second is going to be the norm on this game. Right, so that's Need for Speed Rivals. On to Rocket League now, and there's been a considerable upshift in performance because we're now getting mid-40s, even touching 50 frames per second, which is more than enough, and there may be a bit of headroom to adjust the quality up a touch as well, but at the moment I'm quite happy with these settings. So that's Rocket League. So just to sum up then, I've upgraded the Antec to a quad-core i5 4590S, kept the same RAM, which is 16 gig, which now runs in 1600 megahertz. As with a lot of these low powered systems, just set all the game settings to the minimal and work your way up if possible, but on this size monitor even the lowest settings look okay to me, and obviously frame rate being the most important thing. So if you've got any questions, just let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.